There are not many decisions that would make me lose faith in Brian Schottenheimer and his coaching staff's process, but there is definitely one that would make me scratch my head and be slightly pissed off. If the Cowboys do not find a way to retain Traeshon Holden, even after they've been gifted this blessing in disguise by way of, I hate to say this as the president of the Jonathan Mingo fan club, but by way of Jonathan Mingo's PCL sprain, whereas he's going to be out for about 4 to 6 weeks, apparently, according to diagnosis, I'm going to be pissed. Traeshon Holden stole the show for me yesterday at Dallas Cowboys practice, the last padded practice of training camp, essentially. And let's talk about how the Cowboys have to do everything in their power to retain his rights. And some of the other thoughts that I observed from yesterday's practice. Man, shut your up. Now, Traeshon Holden. This man right here, he stole the show for me yesterday at Dallas Cowboys training camp practice at the Star at Frisco because he was making catches all over the place. And one thing that he showcased yesterday that I don't think that anybody's really talked about enough is this man can make a quarterback look better than what he is. And as a receiver, that's probably one of the greatest compliments that you can give a guy. If a receiver is able to elevate the play of his quarterback, that's when you know a guy is really worth his salt. Why do I say that? Because he's a receiver that not only can adjust on the fly, but he can make contested catches. He can adjust to inaccurately thrown balls. He can make those acrobatic, crowd-stopping type catches because he did it yesterday. And honestly, he's been doing it all offseason. He's done it in the preseason. Hell, so far in the preseason with only 2 receptions, he's averaging 21 yards per reception. So he's a big play guy. Traeshon Holden is listed at 6'2", 6'3", and about 205 pounds. So this is one of those big, long, athletic, Dak-friendly type of receivers. The only issue with him is he's not a burner. But that's honestly not an issue with Traeshon because he has such a good hold of the wide receiver position. He has such a good feel for the position that he understands how to use his body, how to use his route running to create space on his routes. He ends up open a lot. He understands where to sit down in the soft spots of a zone. He understands all of that stuff, man. And the guy has sure hands. I haven't seen him drop anything yet that he should have caught. I've seen other guys do that this offseason. I have not seen him do that this offseason. And we cannot afford for this kid to walk. The only reason that we got lucky and got our hands on him in the first place is because people felt like he was a head case at Oregon. So we need to take advantage of this blessing in disguise, get this dog on the field somehow. And I don't care if it takes trading a Jalen Tolbert to open up another roster spot or what, but you got Jonathan Mingo. You can end up putting him on the PUP, the IR list, to start the season, and that will save you a roster spot. I believe they have 2 of those type of spots available. Now, the issue is there's a ton of players. There's way more than 2 Cowboys right now that are injured and that may have lengthy injuries, but we may have some good news coming because Brian Schottenheimer and Trevon Diggs himself, Trevon Diggs actually teased the fact that he thinks he can be back within the first month of the season. I feel like he's a month away, which would mean that he thinks he should be back around week 2, week 3 maybe. Kalen Carson, I'm sorry, he don't need to take up no roster spot. You could probably cut him and bring him back on the practice squad, and nobody's going to pick that dude up. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm keeping it real. Nobody's seen enough positive tape out of him to go out their way to try to pick him up before the Cowboys can bring him back on the practice squad. I would much rather keep Traeshon Holden on his roster than to risk him being picked up on the waiver wire and us lose out on a stud and we end up seeing him somewhere else making plays and he ends up being someone serious wide receiver 2 or something. Because make no mistake about it, I absolutely believe that Traeshon Holden, if he was on another team that didn't have CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens at the top of that wide receiver depth chart, Traeshon Holden would be someone that's competing for a wide receiver 2, maybe a wide receiver 3, at least, at minimum type spot, because that's the type of talent that this kid is. And yesterday at the Star at Frisco, it just stood out. Every time he was on the field and he had an opportunity, he made a play. And you could see this from a number of people. It's not just me saying that. Traeshon Holden, to me, was definitely one of my main stars from yesterday's training camp practice. There was probably like one, maybe 2 or 3 other guys that were pretty impressive. But to me, Traeshon Holden is the guy that stood out the most. Dak and all the other guys that should look good, they look good. Dak, CD, GP, all them boys was making plays the way they normally make plays. Our DBs, a little bit suspect. Kyer Elam had a nice day as well. Deuce Vaughn, surprisingly, had a nice day at the running back position. Jaden Blue, he looks kind of different. He just looks kind of different from the other running backs that we have. I think that kid really has something else. I think he has another gear to him than what the other backs we have on the roster may have. Phil Maffa as well. He may not have that second gear, but he damn sure can step on something. But beyond that, man, yeah, practice, it was cool. It was cool. I'm not going to sit here and act like because I was at practice, I'm now an expert on everything that's going on and everything that's been happening in the full context of what's happening, but it was a nice experience. There were a couple of things that you kind of noticed. Notice a Micah Parsons sitting off to the side. I'm going to be honest, man. They need to go ahead and pay Micah, man. Because that man be sitting over there on the sideline just looking miserable, like detached from everything else, just looking miserable. Pay that man so he can get out there on that field and stop with the long face, man. Because that man is dying just sitting on the sideline having to watch his teammates practice, bro. And him and Diggs, they be trying everything they can to keep themselves busy. They only dudes be walking around the practice field, messing with everybody, joking around and stuff. Everybody else be locked into what's going on. But they need to pay Micah, bro. Because we need that energy that Micah has. We need that on the practice field. And at the end of the day, even if you feel like he's a knucklehead, he's our knucklehead, man. Pay Micah Parsons. Y'all fellas, put y'all egos to the side. Pride comes before the fall of man. Remember that. Put y'all egos to the side and let's fix this thing so Coach Shotty can really begin to change this culture. Beyond that, though, I just hope that Shotty makes the right decisions because, like I said, he could change the culture and do all that other stuff that he wants, man. If you're not truly picking the best guys to make your roster, if you're not truly picking the best guys to get out there and play on that field, then what are we doing? What are we doing? All that talk is for nothing, bro. If Traeshon Holden ends up on the waiver wire, if he ends up on anybody else's team, this right here was a major misstep because it's very clear he's better than everybody else not named George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, and that was out there on that field yesterday. Kevontae Turpin, I don't think he practiced a whole lot. I want to say they kept Turpin out. I'm not really sure. I didn't really see a whole bunch of Kevontae Turpin yesterday. But he's better than everybody else that's not on the top 3 of that depth chart. Jonathan Mingo, him and Traeshon Holden are probably like what in a horse race. But I think that he's better than Jalen Brooks. I think that he's better than Jalen Tolbert. Quite frankly, he's a bigger body. He's a more physical player. I think he just fits the supposed culture that we're trying to build in Dallas a lot more than the other guys that we have towards the bottom of that depth chart. And it would just, this would be the one that would piss me off, y'all. So just remember I said that. I really hope I don't have to come back up here and be angry at Shotty for one video. Either way, let me know down in the comments below everything that you've been thinking about the Dallas Cowboys training camp since we've essentially come to the conclusion of the training camp period. Appreciate you guys for locking in with me during the training camp, during the offseason, and I am excited to be able to bring you guys some damn good football content. I'm going to give you all the content you need so you ain't got to go nowhere else. You're going to be locked in with your news analysis and everything else over here, y'all. So be sure to subscribe, leave a like on this video. I see y'all on the next one, man. And don't y'all forget to subscribe to the Patreon either. I'm doing the giveaway in 3 days. Doing a $50 giveaway in 3 days. I'm going to be picking from my Patreon members. There's only like 12 guys right now. So you have really good chances to win $50, but just subscribing to a Patreon for $5 more. But either way, I'll see you guys on the next one.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Oh, shut up, my boy. Hey! I'm still them boys.